This guy has a lot of traction. The first time I saw him, he was floating around on TikTok. Now, if you guys understand what I've been up to in terms of censorship, this guy is on TikTok and he's making the rounds, mind you, which is a red flag. He does rattle off a lot of fucking propaganda if you listen closely or if you have eyes to see because you're using the brain between your ears to think. Most people aren't. They don't have a fucking clue. They couldn't spot a red flag if their lives depended on it, which is why things are falling apart. Because you and I are surrounded by really smart people. Nudge, nudge, something, something. So, what he's rattling off in this presentation, pardon me, has to do with he listed Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, some other assholes who I don't know their names because I don't give a fuck, but the other one stuck with me because I heard him enough. And each one of these has to do with a company, for lack of better words, supposedly an idea, and all around, a corporate interest now. You with me? So each one of these people, like Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk, what do they do? What's their purpose? Do you know what their purpose is? And Elon Musk is a fun one to look into because he's never created a goddamn thing in his life. The only thing that he supposedly has, having to do with his history of bullshit, is he's wanted to name something X. That's the only thing that carries over, and I don't think that's an original thought, mind you. If you understand what X represents, and I don't know anybody who does, yeah, that's meant to be condescending. Just the same. Can you answer the question? What purpose do these people serve? Jeopardy music. I know you could probably picture it in your head. Each one of them is a faceman or face man. That's it. They're a puppet. They're an actor. They're somebody to, parade around in front of, the bullshit. And then you and I buy into it. We don't look into it. We don't challenge it. We just accept it. We bend over and take it. That's exactly what has happened. Oh, but they gave us this and they did this and they did that. In this video, this asshole, Professor Fuckall, he'll highlight that these things are associated with what superficial people call the government. Government hasn't existed for a very long time. So, do you remember what I said about this guy reinforcing, propaganda? Because this is a phony jurisdiction. Thinking and believing that government exists is a phony jurisdiction in place to subjugate the masses. What do I mean? All governments were converted into corporations a very, very long time ago. Despite the fact that Google will lie to you about this because it's DARPA's Google. That's meant to be ironic based on what I'm complaining about. Yeah. This guy has traction because he's full of shit. If you remove all of the propaganda and you do what I've been doing, you will have no traction, damn near no traction whatsoever. There's another way to put it. There's a lot of things people should know. Most people aren't bright enough to appreciate what these things are if you do point them out. I mean, you can quite literally serve them up on a silver platter and people will not understand. And I'm speaking from experience because this happens all the fucking time. One of those posts that I can't leave on TikTok or YouTube, a guy left a video having to do with some of that, but he was also shopping around propaganda. He was also not capitalizing or punctuating what he leaves online. He wasn't setting a standard for others, for the lack of better words. And too many thoughts. I reached out to him and I said a few things. And really what I did was I highlighted shit that he didn't highlight in his video. And what did I get back? He wrote me one word. He didn't capitalize it. And I don't know if he used a question mark. He wrote, "What?" Because all these kids know is what they've been spoon-fed. All they know is what they can click repost on. In other words, they don't know shit. And if you point something out that is unfamiliar to them, they can't connect the dots. They can't do it. I had another kid tell me to essentially summarize what I had already taken time and energy to relate to him. And he asked me to, dumb it down to a 5th grade level is what I think he asked me to do. So I asked him to use his fucking brain and do us all a favor. What do I know? I'm just trying to help you guys. And this guy's a piece of shit. But that goes without saying, because this is the age of disinformation and patently fascist censorship. And it looks like 24,000 people were capable, they saw this so they could share it. And 24,000 liked it, which is, unheard of, at least in my neck of the woods. Usually I have 0 views on most platforms. Food for thought. What do I know? I forgot. I didn't rattle off what I was going to also parallel this with, because I launch into these disclaimer statements trying to help you guys. So here's what he's rattling off. These guys are all facemen. He doesn't tell you that for the most part, but that's kind of what he's alluding to. What I wanted you to parallel this with, and I'll stop it because it's distracting. MK Ultra bullshit if I kept it going, which is the bread and butter of TikTok, which is why there's stupid noises and pointless shit that bounces around on the screen and all the other things that are absolutely unnecessary. What I want you to parallel this with is people who promote the Hegelian dialectic, which is the core tenet of fascism. In other words, divide and conquer. People who believe in voting. People who believe that there's a government, which is once again reinforced in this bullshit video. I'm talking about what people would call superficially as, presidents. You with me? Probably not, because all presidents are stewards of the District of Columbia. The District of Columbia was established in 1871 under the Organic Act, which created a phony third-party government. Now is a great time to think about third-party apps online. These things stand outside of the jurisdiction of the Constitution, which means they have nothing to do with freedom of speech or for the people, by the people. That's what people consider America, or that's what America is what I should say. It falls under the banner of the District of Columbia, which means it's not America. It's not a country. And it's sure as shit not a government. Why would I say that? Because of what took place in 1913, when the Federal Reserve was established under the pretense of being both voluntary and temporary. This converted what you would think of as, American citizens into American debt slaves. Why? Because all currency became debt-based. This is when it began, mind you. But it didn't take very long. And by 1933, approximately, Fort Knox no longer contained gold. It's another reason why you can't see the gold. It's ridiculous. It's just fucking ridiculous. There's more I was going to rattle off having to do with this, but I'm tired of saying these things because people should have connected the dots and figured this much out. But like I said earlier, even if their lives depended on it, they couldn't do this. They couldn't figure any of this out. And that's why people buy into this, and I know, this is a horrible rant. Most people are clicking repost on the shit that they're spoon-fed in their feed. That's a red flag. Why do you think you have a feed? Why do you think you're being spoon-fed things? It's divisive. It's manipulative. It's a goddamn agenda. And if you disagree, do some of you remember how the internet used to work? You used to be able to scroll and find information. You used to be able to plug in keywords and find information. But now if you scroll down and you look away, is it efficient? Or does it drag you back to the top of the slush pile where you're supposed to digest the latest and the greatest crap? You and I are being manipulated. Nothing about the digital infrastructure is remotely safe. None of it's in place to benefit you and I. It's all in place to subjugate you and I. And that's what the intention behind all of this always was. And if you're confused right now, why did I say so many things? Why didn't I dumb it down for you? In this video, this guy is talking about ChatGPT. He's talking about Facebook. He's talking about Elon Musk. To connect the dots now, Elon Musk has purchased and rebranded Twitter as X. In other words, I'm talking about 3 digital platforms, for lack of better words. You picking up what I'm putting down? What I'm talking about is connected if you use your brain, which is the purpose behind everything I took time and energy to try to relate to you. Again, what the fuck do I know? I also meant to mention this. Not far from my house, technically I could consider it a neighbor. It's in my general area. Either way, I saw the year This kid, they leave a lot of superficial shit outside their house, and all of it is propaganda. It's all divisive. It's all bullshit. So 1776, and some of you might know what I'm talking about with this. Hopefully you do. If not, you could figure that much out. But they left this outside their house in relation to no kings. And some of you might have heard me babble about this quite a bit, and I'm dumbing it down. I'm bastardizing the fact that I took time and energy to point out that our masters are laughing at us. This is an IQ test. No one sensible would have repeated this, but you probably have heard of it because it was well financed and well circulated, which is a red flag. The masses don't know what they're talking about, so when things are, being propagated or perpetuated, echoed, etc., it's not something you should latch on to. It would be quite different if people knew what they were talking about, but they sure as shit don't, which is why I'm going to prove my point. Oh, do you know why? I mean, you should take some thought and, take a little bit of time and try to figure it out, but none of these kids did. There's something in writing that clearly states stewards, the stewards of the corporation, you would probably think of it as presidents of the government. They can't hold official titles like Baron, Duke, Viscount. They can't be fucking kings is the point. It is the point. But none of these kids are familiar with that. In other words, when agendas like this come to fruition and idiots march around the streets and do absolutely nothing other than reinforce that the masses don't know what they're talking about, it's a pat on the ass for the people pulling our strings. Titles of Nobility Act. When was it put in print? And sometimes it will be worded as Title of Nobility Act, just so you know. Was first printed shortly after it passed Congress in 1810. So let's do this. The other year was 17, and 1810. That's 34 years later. It's relevant. If somebody knows about 1776, they should know about this. But I've never met somebody who does, is my point.